It's the light. It's a medium that is supposedly transparent, and yet when there's like ripples and waves on the surface, it throws shadows. But those shadows on the water, they're not like static, they sort of run. So it looks like they're just kind of in this sort of weird motion. But they're lit up, they're like lit up shadows. And they play out over the bottom of the sand, which is some sort of ripples. And so, you know, that Bermuda water combined with sort of expanses of sand, that's just mesmerizing.
Got that one?
Yep. What's fascinating about Bermuda is it's an entire nation whose history is based on shipwrecks. You know, we are essentially shipwreck survivors. That's what's found in Bermuda. Lots of places have many shipwrecks, but Bermuda is curious because we have ships from literally every, you know, era since, you know, the 1500s, and from almost every country that was engaged in shipping. Shipwrecks can be a vessel for not just interpreting and understanding the past, but for also seeing where we are right now and then looking forward into the future. Being born here essentially means to be born on the water. That early connection to things maritime is completely built in. Philippe Max Rouget, custodian of historic wrecks for the islands of Bermuda. Searching for stuff and, you know, knowing that stuff was out there in nature, that comes from childhood. That's my mom. My mother would sort of grab us and take us down to places like Church Bay, which at low tide have these incredible rocky pools which are just full of life. Nature is so incredibly sensory that I just think it's impossible for humans not to get it eventually if they're in it. You can extrapolate the value of shipwrecks far beyond what some might perceive as a very narrow attraction. They can hold your attention at a sort of historical heritage level. There's a science component in terms of the marine environment and marine biology. There's innovations that were made that were abandoned that maybe we've forgotten about. All these things together tell a big, full story. A lot of the people that interacted with shipwrecks historically were incredibly knowledgeable sailors and divers and fishermen. And while they're teaching you about shipwrecks, you're also absorbing a lot of information about legacy spawning aggregations, about abundances of fish that no longer exist, about fish that have come back in the last 20, 30 years, like parrotfish. You realize very quickly the perspective they have over the last 50 years of time in Bermuda in terms of its environment, in terms of change over time, is completely irreplaceable. And as we sort of pull together the knowledge around us, maybe we'll see patterns that we didn't see before. The idea that a place this small can be representative for the whole might seem difficult to handle. But Bermuda is sort of a concentration of this current set of choices that a large part of humanity is making. Consequences are never far removed. Whatever we import, we have to dispose of. It doesn't go to some other county a couple hundred miles away. You know, if we discover a source of pollution, we can't just sort of isolate it and push it to an area where we don't have to deal with it. It's always here. If you looked at it from a heritage point of view, our heritage is degrading. If you look at it from an environment point of view, our heritage is being subsumed by an environment and becoming a part of something else. But despair is not a conservation tool. And telling a really good obituary about the marine environment can't be a plan. It has to be more hopeful than that. In order for it to be hopeful, though, we actually have to take action. My hope is that we're gonna be innovative, and we're also gonna gather in that old knowledge set, and by marrying those two things together, we can actually make the progress that we're gonna need to make.